Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Cooking It Up with Ro. Today we're going to do some 3 easy game day appetizers that my family love. We're going to start off with the chicken wings. I'm making my barbecue chicken wings with my barbecue sauce blend that I like to put together for my family. Here you'll see the chicken is already pre-cleaned. I season it with some of our Florida grown Everglades heat seasoning with garlic, salt, parsley blend, and black pepper. And go ahead and mix it up well. You can always season your meat however you like to season your meat. So you don't have to do it exactly the way that I'm showing you. But this way, again, this is what works for me. I'm only cooking for 2 adults, a teenager and a 2-year-old. So I'm not going to overdo it because someone's going to complain about it being too spicy, because I definitely could have used a little more heat for myself. Now what you're going to do is prepare to transfer the meat over into the pan. I love to use this rack because it allowed the juices from the meat, the fat and everything to just cook directly off the meat and the meat not sit in it. Spray the rack down with some oil. I honestly just kept my cooking spray oil container, and when I buy olive oil or whatever oil, I just fill it back up and spray down. So place your chicken on the rack however you like to do so. It was about maybe 12, 13 pieces of meat. So I put a couple of them off to the side, which you will see in a few seconds here. But get your meat placed in and then prepare to throw it in the oven at 350 degrees after you spray it down with more oil for about 45 minutes. My oven cooked a little fast, so it took about 40 minutes. Now I'm preparing my sauce here. I will not disclose one of my ingredients that's already in the pot, but it's melted butter with one of my secret ingredients, and I added some barbecue sauce, which I like to use Sweet Baby Ray's honey barbecue, grape jelly, and some honey. And I'm going to dab in some hot sauce. I usually use more hot sauce, but again, I didn't because I'm cooking for my fiance, my teenage son, and my 2-year-old, and neither of them like their food spicy. Meanwhile, me, I would have went a little heavy-handed on the sauce for myself. I also added in some Carolina barbecue sauce, which you don't see happen here. I almost left it out, but I like a mustard-based sauce. So Carolina Gold, Cattleman's Carolina Gold is my go-to for that. And then you just let the sauce cook and stir it up, and that's about it. Here you see me prepping onions, preparing for my sliders. And you just want to dice those onions. I took a medium-sized yellow onion, cut it in half, and then of that half, I diced those up, and then I set maybe about a third a cup or a fourth of a cup aside for my not my sliders, because some of it's going to be used on the sliders, but the other part of the onion dice are going to be used for the dip. So I just cut up enough for what I'm going to be using today. The other half, you could store it in a bowl. I cut the other half, put it in a bowl so that whenever I got to go back to use it, it's already cut and I don't have to do that again. But here we're going to go ahead and get ready to prepare to add these onions into our ground beef. You could use ground turkey or chicken. I'm not using ground chicken, never, but you can use whatever ground form of meat that you like. I like to go use the 80/20 lean beef. Ground chuck beef is pretty good with this. It's just usually a lot of oil come from out of that, so I don't really like that. So I don't use it a whole lot unless I'm making a meatloaf. Which, if you haven't seen my meatloaf recipe, go ahead, check out my other video loaded before this one. You'll see the meatloaf recipe there as well. But here, it's real simple dealing with ground beef of any sort. You don't have to overdo it with your seasoning. Whatever season salt of choice, garlic, black pepper. I really need to buy some more black pepper. I love black pepper. It's almost gone, but anywho, put your pepper in, blend it up well. I add this liquid smoke because I wanted to give it a flavor as if it was on the grill. It's raining outside today, so grilling was not the way to go. So here I added the liquid smoke instead as an alternative. You could put steak sauce or Worcestershire sauce, if I said that correctly. If not, oh well. But you could add that into it also and blend it up and get ready to prepare for it to be placed into a baking dish so that you can put it in the oven. I did use a very easy technique with doing the sliders, with using the Hawaiian rolls, because the Hawaiian rolls have to be baked anyways. Guys, this is like way easier than sitting there making patties and putting them and flipping them on top of the stove one by one. Make one flat, basically like a loaf. Just make it as flat as possible. You're making sliders, so it's not like you're making a quarter pounder or anything. So just thin it out, flatten it out, get it prepared to go in the oven. You bake it in the oven at 350 degrees. Took my oven about 15-20 minutes. This is beef. You don't want to overcook it. If you like your meat medium well or well done or almost not done, your time is going to vary depending on how you choose to cook it. We like ours depending on the day. Today it was well done for me. So well done. We're going to go in and add our cheese. We're using Gouda cheese today. My favorite is Colby Jack or either cheddar cheese, but the men in this house, they love this cheese, and this was all about them for game day coming up, Super Bowl weekend, and I just wanted to give you guys some little easy go-to recipes. I'm only doing 6 sliders. As you can see, I drained the excess oil out of the beef before putting the bread and things back into the pan. I did that off camera, so you don't see that done here, but before you put it back in the oven, drain that extra grease off from when you cook the beef and then reuse that same pan. Now I'm adding a little butter on top of my bun, and I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of sesame seeds and prepare it to go back in the oven at 350 degrees for about 5 to 7 minutes. You can follow the package on what it say for the Hawaiian rolls and put it in the oven for that amount of minutes, because again, you don't want to overcook your meat. You're going to dry it out. All you're trying to do is get that bun crusted a little bit and that cheese to melt a little bit. So now we're going to go into the meats that we're making for our nacho rotel dip. So I chose steak today, steak and bacon. So you want to go ahead and put your steak on the pan. Use a nonstick pan. I did put a very little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. Cook it on both sides for 3 to 5 minutes. Add your salt and pepper or whatever you like to season it. There's no point in over seasoning this because it's going to get blended in other things. So if you put too much season, that taste is going to reflect in when you combine everything together. So be cautious about how much season you use when you're blending multiple foods together. So here's the done product of our steak. I set it aside, diced it up because again, it's going into our dip. So we don't want chunks. Now we're going to go ahead and add in the bacon, which I could have cooked them both at the same time, but I didn't. I cooked them separate. I'm reusing the exact same pan. Again, everything that I do is to be easy, simple, and less work for the chef. So now we're cooking our bacon down. It take about 3-4 minutes on each side for bacon to cook as well. You don't even have to flip bacon, to be honest. I just chose to because again, that's just me. So when that bacon is finished, go ahead, drain it, set it aside. I did pour off some of the excess grease that came off of the bacon so that I can reuse this pan to add in our cheeses and everything for our dip. So as you can see, I drained off some, adding in our chopped up Velveeta queso cheese. And this is just what I had left over at the house. I figured I was making a dip. Let me go ahead and use the rest of it that's here so it don't go to waste. So that's what we had left of it, which maybe was about a third of the Velveeta box that it comes in. I'm not sure the exact measurements here, but that's what we had left over. Added in so it melt down the cheese. If you don't use excess oil. Like say you use chicken meat. Chicken usually don't leave a whole lot of oil over. So if you do need to add in something before adding your cheese, put in a little bit of butter, maybe like a tablespoon of butter so it can melt down in the pan before adding the cheese, because that cheese will get hardened and it won't turn out right. So as you can see, I've added in the Rotel diced tomatoes, one chopped jalapeno, the leftover chopped onions, and now I'm going to go in with my 3 cheeses, which I shred myself because I've learned from cooking that when you buy pre-shredded cheese, it have this little powder substance that I don't know what it is that's on it, but it do cause that cheese to melt differently and set differently. So I've shied away from using shredded cheese. It's still some in our refrigerator, but I don't really use it. When DJ's cooking, he'll use it, but me, I don't mind shredding the cheese myself. So I have 3 cheeses there: sharp cheddar, pepper jack, and Gouda cheese. I used about 6 ounces of the 8-ounce cheddar cheese, 6 ounces of the pepper jack cheese, and 4 ounces of the smoked Gouda cheese. And then here you see I'm breaking up my bacon with my hand. Again, I'm cooking for my family. If you know you're cooking for a group of people and they don't live with you, you should be wearing gloves, because you always want to keep that in mind. You know, here in Tampa, we call COVID the Rona. You don't want to end up with the Rona and you cooking, putting your hands all in other people's food. You shouldn't do that. But again, I'm cooking for my family, and this is what I do. So we're adding in the steak, the bacon. It's on top of the stove, medium-high heat. Guys, off camera, I took this pan and threw it in the oven. Once I got everything in there, I put it in the oven for about 5 minutes. Everything basically melt, combine together. All you got to do is stir it when you pull it out the oven, and it's basically done at that point. So this is what I did here. So now we're going to go ahead and prepare to get ready to plate our items as well as sauce up our chicken. So I'm just cutting up the sliders just so that it'll be easier for me to pull those apart. And then I'm going to place it to the side. And then now I'm going to go ahead and grab my wings. I'm going to pour the sauce on my wings. Now, guys, wings is something you can play with. That's why so many different flavors with wings. If I wasn't cooking for my sons and I was and my fiance and I was cooking this for just me, after I sauce this, I would go and grab my Cajun style blackened season and throw that on top of this. When I say it's a banger, it's a banger. I love blue cheese, but you could use your favorite dipping sauce, whether it's blue cheese or ranch or bear. It doesn't matter. But get it blended well. You want to make sure it's coated nicely for each of them. If you like your meat saucy, as you can see, I still had a little bit of sauce left over. You could have poured the extra sauce on top of it, and you could sauce it up to whatever extent you would like for it to be. So this is usually how my sons and my fiance love for theirs to be. So that's what I'm setting it up for. So now I'm going to just, give a simple platter idea. I took every item I cooked and put it all on one single platter. So if you want to put it on separate platters, by all means do so. But I like to keep it very simple because it's supposed to be simple. It's cooking. We eat every single day, so it's no need to complicate it. Now, I do want to throw out there, guys, because if you notice, nothing I cooked had green in it besides the jalapenos. When you're doing party trays for any type of tray, whether it's a fruit tray or food tray, a veggie tray, you always want to add in something green. So adding like celery sticks or fresh broccoli to this tray will actually make people want to eat it more, because visually looking at it, it looks more appealing. Again, it's still very simple. You can always buy celery whole, chop it up yourself. People, don't be cheap. Don't be lazy. Don't pay for it already chopped up. Usually it has some type of extra chemical on top of it just because they chopped it up, and you're paying more money for it just because somebody went in with a knife. Chop that thing up yourself. But if you want to be lazy, hey, go for it, guys. I mean, the world is busy now, and we have very busy lives. But as you can see, guys, this is real simple. Now I'm going to go ahead, grab my cheese dip from out the oven, and I'm just going to pour it right in. Oh my gosh, guys, look at that. Yes, perfect. Perfect. I'm so greedy, y'all. I couldn't wait. I literally forgot I was recording for a second here. I had to go ahead and dip in and just give it a taste like right away. As you can see, the chip didn't want me to be great, but I still got it. Like, look at it. Easy, right? Like, that's literally it, guys. It took me an hour and 10 minutes to make all these at one time. That's including prepping and cooking. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment if you have any comments to leave for me. Again, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoy. See you next time.